Thank you for downloading the BBQ Central Show. The BBQ Central Show is supported in part by these great sponsors. The BBQ Guru, makers of automatic pit temperature control devices and barbecue pits. Their website is thebbqguru.com. Also, Butcher Barbecue, maker of injections, rubs, and sauces. Their website is butcherbbq.com. And by Big Poppa Smokers, your one-stop online shop for anything in the barbecue and grilling industry, to include World Championship winning rubs. Their website, bigpoppasmokers.com. And by Cook Shack, maker of pellet and electric cookers. You can visit them at cookshack.com. Also, Chops Power Injector System. 3 different size injectors to choose from. Find out more at barbecuekansascity.com, and that's barbecue, BARBEQUE. And by Pit Barrel Cooker, one of the most unique and versatile cookers out there on the market. Visit them at pitbarrelcooker.com. And by Smithfield, the biggest name in pork, bringing you great opportunities this barbecue season. Get smoking with Smithfield and their grant program and committed cooks program. Learn more at smokinwithsmithfield.com. And by Green Mountain Grills, some of the finest pellet cookers on the market. Their website, greenmountaingrills.com. Also by Cookin' Pellets, manufacturer of wood pellets to fire wood pellet cookers. Their website is cookinpellets.com. You can also purchase on Amazon.com as well. And finally, by Unknown Barbecue Supply, makers of lid hinges, chimney grillers, and much more. You can visit their website, unknownbbq.com/shop.
This is Chad Hayden with Moonshiners Barbecue, the 19th annual Jack Daniel's World Barbecue Champion, and this is BBQ Central.
So to get that perfect barbecue, you use wood. Are you sure it's safe? Whatever. We put the lighter fluid on, strike the match, and... Oh! Should we call the fire department? That might be a good idea.
All right, good evening, and welcome to the Really Big BBQ Central Show. This is the show that talks about all things important in the world of barbecue and grilling, broadcasting live and direct from the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame city of Cleveland, Ohio. It is the barbecue capital of the North Coast. I happen to be your humble host, Greg Rippey. Happy to have you aboard here on your Tuesday. We have a great show lined up for you this evening, so hopefully you have packed in your libations, fortifications, and otherwise snacks or drinks. And if you want to get in touch with the show this evening, I have some very important contact info to share with you. This is what it sounds like.
You can get in touch with the show by calling 216-220-0966. Email Greg at the BBQCentralShow.com. On the Twitter and Instagrams at BBQ Central Show.
Anything else you want to find out about the show can be found at the main website, thebbqcentralshow.com. And here's what's happening in case you didn't get the newsletter. Coming up in about, let's call it 12 minutes from now, the third Tuesday of the month brings the third Tuesday of the month regularly slotted guest, a Barbecue Hall of Famer, a multiple-time cookbook author, a cooking class instructor, and, as of most recently, a TV show host as well. You know him, you love him, Stephen Raichlen, 914. Then we move on to 9:35, and we start the cavalcade of competition barbecue interviews. The show heavy on the competition, but that's all right. Sometimes we're heavy on the competition. Sometimes the show never has anything to do with competitions. We might allude to it, but sometimes there's just not a lot of competition stuff going on. This is not going to be one of those shows. So if you love competition barbecue, this is something you're going to like. This is something you're going to like because there's varying sanctioning bodies, varying levels of expertise. Fun and exciting. 9:35, pitmaster of Loot and Booty, winning the most recent Sam's Club local event in Tucson, Arizona. My second favorite Sterling on the face of the earth, Sterling Smith. We move to the second hour after that. At 10:14, we will continue on with the barbecue talk with a team that is looking to notch their third straight competition grand championship in as many tries, currently on a 2-game win streak. The pitmasters of Railyard Barbecue, Rod Blackburn and Justin Bowman, join me at 10:14. Boo. Boo. And then helping me close out the show, a guy well known in the Texas competition world, IBCA, of course. He gets into other stuff. He also gives cooking classes as well. The last time he was on the show, we actually had a fairly in-depth conversation of what's it like when you give the class and then your students turn around and summarily kick your ass at a competition either the week later or 3 weeks down the road or 4 months down the road. And he admitted that's a bittersweet pill to swallow because you're putting it out there as far as everything you know that is successful in the competition world, specific to the sanctioning body that you're in. For Clarence Joseph, it's IBCA. So then to have people that take his class, and maybe we're kind of middle of the packers, but then they picked up 3 or 4 or 5 or 50 really good things that they didn't think about that helped them ramp their learning curve, and all of a sudden now they're sniffing grand championships and knocking CJ around. Yeah, that's a little bit tough to swallow. Proud because, hey, they took my class and now they're trending into the higher finishes for the sanctioning body. But sucks because, man, that should be me. Pitmaster of Momma and Papa Joe's Barbecue, and closing out the show, CJ Clarence Joseph. It's a really big barbecue show tonight. If you want to jump in, I'm happy to have you. 216-220-0966. Greg at thebbqcentralshow.com. Don't forget, please make those posts right now that the show is live on the air. Facebook posts, tweets, Google posts, Google Plus posts, Instagrams. There's another, Snapchat, right? That's rule number 5. Don't snappy snap on the Snapchat. Also, if you have Internet Protocol Television, Roku, House's Outdoor Cooking Channel, go to the App Store or whatever platform you might have on IPTV. And if they have the Outdoor Cooking Channel app, download that. And then you can get a live stream option, and you can also get a host of all the other archives. Full list of this show's archives at my main website, thebbqcentralshow.com. All right, a couple things to get to right here in the open. Lots of reaction to my sister and my parents taking over the show in the beginning of the second hour last week. And what does one really say about that? I don't know. Rarely is my show taken over. I'm not going to implicate any Russians or other malfeasance ne'er-do-wells or no-gooders as far as hacking into my show and taking it over. But the answer is this to your question. Was that really my sister? Because I got 15 to 25 emails going, hey, I'm just listening back to the show, or as it was happening, is that really your sister? I can tell you with 100% assurity that was really my sister. Is that how my sister really sounds? Who knows? Who knows? Is that really how my mom sounds? Who knows? Who knows? I mean, if you're a fan of the show, you know how my mom sounds. But if you just caught the show for the first time last week, you know, what can I tell you? She might sound like. By the way, if you were ever wondering, that's exactly how my dad sounded. You, Dad. All right, here's the other thing. I think I can finally talk about it, but I'm only going to speak about it in terms of high level. For almost 2 years, and rule number 1 of the show, no names, please, and rule number 2 of the show, don't get hooked, which I will abide by here as I recount. But for almost 2 years, I have been going on and on in a lawsuit against a former employer who owed me no less than $15,000 in commission that was unpaid. And from all accounts, as I was employed there, not going to be paid. Not at all. So what does anybody do when they're shorted $15,000? Well, you might think that that employer doesn't really value you. So you start to look elsewhere, you secure other employment, and there you go. And 2 years later, you're much happier for the whole deal. You're thankful for the experience. You realized exactly what you would never want to do again or be embroiled in. And off you go. And after a conversation, the last conversation that I had with no-name CEO of no-name company, while we had some tumultuous exchanges via email in subsequent weeks before that, he said, hey, wish you well, good luck, and if it turns out we owe you this, we're going to pay it, no problem. Well, 6 months comes and goes, 8 months comes and goes. They're obviously not paying, follow-up emails, nothing. I originally bring my brother-in-law in, who is an Esquire, to file a complaint. That's kind of kicked around a little bit, but he says, hey, this is going to get over my head, and you want to get with somebody. So we hired a lawyer and filed suit against these people. And yesterday, never mind that a year and a half later, about a month ago, 2/22, I was served with papers outside of my litigation proceedings suing me for $75,000, saying that I had never returned back, for example, a profit and loss statement or something along these lines. Completely false, trumped-up charges, frivolous lawsuits, bullying tactics that I was not going to bow down to. So we continued to fight it on. We eventually got that case dropped because it was complete bullshit. And yesterday we finally settled. And that's the thing that really pisses me off the most, is that in the end, I still had to settle for less than what I was rightfully owed. So there is no satisfaction. There's satisfaction in not being in litigation anymore, and it was just going on and on forever. But I think that's what it means when you settle. They don't feel like they won. I know I don't feel like I won. I got substantially less money than I expected to get. But now it's finally over, and now I can talk about it. But having been embroiled in that for 2 years, come on. The good news is they paid way more than $15,000 in legal fees. Guaranteed. All right, folks, let me talk to you quickly about the longest-running sponsor of the show, located in Warminster, Pennsylvania, the BBQ Guru. If you've been thinking about automatic pit temperature control devices for your cookers, stop here. This is the company that started it all. They are the creators of this technology, so why are you going to buy from anybody else? If you're not familiar with how these little beauties work, I don't get into the minutia here on the show, but imagine a product that allows you to set your pit temperature, and one set keeps it running at that temperature all the way through the cook. Sound too good to be true? It's not. It's real life. You can take advantage of this technology today because maybe you're a busy working professional. Yes. Or perhaps you're constantly on the run with kids doing errands. Yes. Quite frankly, you don't have that time to sit around and tend pit temperatures. Come on. The Guru allows you to throw on a pork butt, a brisket, a couple slabs of ribs, all of that, and maybe even some chicken. Then you're off to do whatever it is you need to get done, and the Guru maintains that pit temperature you set it at. Number of different models to choose from. Some of the more popular ones to highlight. CyberQ Wi-Fi taking over the world, both in the backyard and the competition scene. Also, Party Q, easiest point of entry when it comes to pit temperature control devices. Self-contained package, runs on AA batteries, can go from kettle styles to bullet styles to ceramic styles. It's great. If you're in the market for a cooker, look no further than the revamped Onyx oven. It's been winning in competition circuits and in backyards for years and years. It's got a new look now. A little more heft, a little more capacity. BBQ Guru has you hooked up. Of course, you know it's going to work seamlessly with all the Guru control devices. Here's the deal. Head on over to bbqguru.com. Check out their products. If you have any questions about what to order, call them directly. 800-288-GURU, and they'll make sure you're outfitted with exactly what you need to get you up and running right out of the box. 800-288-GURU or bbqguru.com. The BBQ Guru continues to be a breakthrough in barbecue technology. Shout out to Tettle and Perlmutter, my litigators, my personal solicitors. All right, we're back with Stephen Raichlen right after this. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Broadcasting live from the BBQ Central Radio Network studios in Cleveland, Ohio. You're listening to the BBQ Central Radio Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
All right, welcome back to the show. You love barbecue. You love to compete. You love to win. Do all three with Smithfield. From 1938, Smithfield has been producing high-quality fresh pork products, and they invite you to get smoking with Smithfield. Are you an organizer of a nonprofit, community, or sanctioned barbecue event? Apply for the new grant program that helps competitions across the U.S. with resources and prize money, but that's not all. If you're a competitive barbecuer, you can join the Committed Cooks program. Members who commit to cooking with premium hand-trimmed Smithfield pork receive swag and other great prizes. Here's what you do. You head on over to the website, smokinwithsmithfield.com. That's smokinwithsmithfield.com. You get all the information. Emily Detweiler will be on this show next week to talk about the Committed Cooks program a little bit more, because a lot of people had questions in regards to how that was being set up and what you were going to be getting, all that stuff. So we'll talk about that with Emily Detweiler next week, and we continue to appreciate their sponsorship of the show. All right, my first guest is seen the third Tuesday of each month on this show. A 2015 Barbecue Hall of Fame inductee, a TV show host, a barbecue cooking class instructor, multiple-time author. We welcome back Mr. Barbecue Bible himself, Stephen Raichlen.
Good. Well, at any rate, hi, Greg. Whelks, which are kind of seafood. We got rockfish, which is a local fish from Santa Barbara. Did my audio go out? You still with me?
Oh yeah, I've never heard of whelks before.
Yeah, well, I'd had sea urchin, but I never grilled them. We did our first field piece. We did these monster veal chops, which are flambéed with rosemary at the end. It was a really cool shoot. And I've been working with most of the crew for 10 years now, so we get together once a year for 2 weeks. It's like a family reunion. And I got to tip my metaphorical hat to these guys and gals because, we start at 6:30 in the morning. Several mornings it was 29 degrees on the set. There was ice on the set. We had to scrape off the work table.
Wow.
And then it can rise to 85 degrees in the afternoon. So tremendous temperature swings, but everybody was with me every single minute of the shoot.
And this is like Southern California or more like Northern?
Well, it's about 45 minutes north of Santa Barbara. So definitely Southern California, but definitely not Los Angeles weather.
So, I mean, you're not unused to shooting out on the left coast when you're doing the Project Smoke shoots. Have you encountered ice in the morning before? Is that like standard fare for you?
Nah, it gets cold, but we've never had ice before.
All right.
And, I don't know if your listeners know, but I'm from Miami, so that is definitely not something that I'm used to.
Is it something that you had to account for in the planning, and does it screw with anything as far as logistics or what the setup is that day, or not so much?
It just makes it a little bit more painful for me. I mean, all the crew can wear parkas and hats and wool gloves and all, but, I'm supposed to look a little bit like it's summertime in the show. So if you look closely, you'll see I'm very bundled up. I've got, some days I was wearing 4 layers. One of the most important jobs on the set is that of fire wrangler. And the fire wrangler, that's the team that keeps the grills fired up. So we get them to bring chimney starters on the set right in the, first thing in the morning to try and keep some semblance of warmth. But it's all outdoors.
They don't stack 10 lighter chimneys just around you outside a camera to give you some radiant heat circle or anything like that?
Well, we can do that when we're not taping, but once we're taping, you see all that smoke and fire coming up, and it definitely looks unnatural. It was it's really fun, and we kind of pushed the envelope for me a little bit. We did a field piece where we went to a local restaurant and joined in the grilling with a very, very famous restaurant in those parts called the Hitching Post. Maybe some of your listeners have been there. They use a Santa Maria style grill, which has the grate that raises and lowers on a flywheel, cooking over red oak, exclusively red oak. We did, we had our brisket show because you always have to do brisket. You always have to do ribs. But we did a lot more grilling this season, which was fun.
Do you I remember, I think the first interview that we ever did on this show, I had asked you at that point, were you more comfortable in front of a grill than you are in a smoker? And, I mean, that was a dozen years ago, and you said at that point, you were a little bit more comfortable in front of a grill than a smoker. But I imagine fast forward 12 years from now, you're probably feeling equally as efficient with all the barbecue stuff that you've done over the last handful of years.
Yeah, well, absolutely. I mean, after writing Project Smoke, I'm pretty comfortable with any smoker you put in front of me. And, in fact, we had a very wide range of smokers. We had a beautiful wood-burning rotisserie, Kalamazoo wood-burning rotisserie that we did those giant beef plate ribs on. Comes out completely different than in a smoker. We had a new grill this year called an Art Flame, which is a combination plancha grill, wood-burning grill and plancha. So it's great for seafood. That was pretty interesting. We had our big Yoder smokers on the set as always. We had some favorites. We had we used the new Weber Charcoal Summit. We used we had kettle grills. We had bullet smokers. We had electric smokers. We used the Bradley electric smoker. We had pellet smokers. It was really if I'm the kind of guy that my vision of heaven is like to be in a hardware store, or grill store, and that's definitely what Project Smoke was like.
Are you, or is the show approached by different grill manufacturers to say, will you use my grill? I mean, I would imagine it's got to be a significant bump for them as far as getting FaceTime with a guy like Stephen Raichlen cooking on them, or do you go out and say, hey, I would love to be cooking on these grills, make it happen? How does that portion of the show happen?
Well, we really steer the grills on the show in terms of the menu and, more importantly, the lesson plan that I have. So when I'm thinking about 13 shows, I'm thinking about I want people to know how to smoke on charcoal, how to smoke on a pellet grill, how to smoke on an electric smoker. I want people to see me burning only wood. I want people to see me burning charcoal. And gradually, the menus evolve that way. I mean, we try and stay very true to local food. You don't think of Southern California as beef country, but we were definitely in the heart of beef country.
Was there one standout recipe that you were like, man, this looked really good on paper, but it's even better when I put it in my mouth, finished product?
There were a lot like that, but one that really comes to mind. So, turkey. I mean, every year I've done a brine turkey, so I didn't want to do a brine turkey this year. So I did that technique that we talked about last Thanksgiving where you stuff butter under the skin, and as you cook the turkey, the butter gets absorbed by the meat. It's fantastic. Well, the week before the shoot, we hooked up with an Oregon truffle and mushroom guy, and he sent in Oregon truffles. Now, truffles are those subterranean golf ball size fungi that have an otherworldly flavor. I mean, once you taste them, you'll remember the flavor for the rest of your life.
Agreed.
So we thinly shaved that, and we put the truffles under the skin of this bird that had all this butter under the skin. And then we smoked it. We did a light smoke with oak wood. And, that was clearly one of the most memorable turkeys I've ever had.
I got a close-up Project Smoke 3 shoot for me. Obviously you said it was your favorite shoot to date. Yeah. When does it start to hit the television screens for us?
So we will launch on Memorial Day weekend. For your listeners, ask your local PBS station when it'll be airing. And, and be sure to ask, because that's always good for us when a lot of people ask for the show. Very often on Memorial Day, they'll do a marathon. They'll do the previous seasons, and they'll lead into this season. It's pretty cool.
I have a listener that specifically wanted me to ask you if, and I can't technology is ever advancing and it's very rapid, but he wants to know if there's past seasons of Project Smoked available on Blu-ray.
Yeah, we have not done the video on Blu-ray. We've not gone that route yet, in part because we're just not sure next year whether people are going to still be watching DVDs or whether it's all going to be streaming. But that comes up, and for your listener, I appreciate his asking, and it is something we're looking at.
There was a rumor that I heard, and you're the guy to ask because you were part of the rumor. Obviously, you have a line of very successful grilling and barbecue products. Are you coming out with a new line of rubs?
I am, and in fact,
Really?
I just got back from Chicago late last night. I was at the Houseware show launching the new rubs. It's called Project Smoke Rubs, and a few of them will be familiar to people that knew the old rubs, like the basic barbecue rub has morphed into a smoky Kansas City rub. The old Java rub is now a Santa Fe coffee rub. But we've got some new flavors, including a fennel peppercorn rub that's really amazing, a Malabar pepper steak rub, Mediterranean rub has kind of morphed into a Greek island rub. And I'm very excited about them. They'll be ready at the end of April. And if you subscribe to my newsletter on barbecuebible.com, we'll let you know. Let you know when they launch.
Will they be available only through the internet, or are they going to hit the normal brick and mortar stores that all your other products have been in?
No, gosh, I hope not. I hope we're in major supermarkets and big boxes everywhere.
How much quality assurance and control and input do you have? Because when you're widely considered to be like one of the names in the industry, you don't just want to slap your name on everything and just hope it sells. Especially for a guy like you that writes his own books and puts his own products out there. What's it like to get a rub to market, and how much input are you doing, and how much suggestions are you saying, hey, it's got to be like this or it's got to be like that in order for it to go to market to have my name on it?
Well, put it this way. It took over a year and 3 months to get these simple rubs out, and that was because I had a certain look for the label, and we probably went through 10 labels to get it that way. Every spice that was formulated was sent to me. Some of them I tasted 5 or 6 times, tweaking to get the formulas right. The sauces were even worse. The sauces are coming out in May, and for the sauces, one of them it just couldn't get the acidity right. And finally, I made a trip to the factory in Sonoma County, and I realized when I was looking at the factory floor, I see this big plastic vat of industrial vinegar, and I said, "Well, what's that?" Well, I call for cider vinegar. You're using, industrial distilled vinegar. So that was why, this was after going back and forth a dozen times. So I am I will not put my name onto something unless it tastes the way I want it to.
Stephen Raichlen joining me here on the show, barbecuebible.com, projectsmoke.org, the two websites if you want to visit them. Less than a minute left, Stephen, and I apologize for the technical issues up at the front.
Man.
I know. We're going to have to do it again next month, and extra time on me. But obviously spring is here, whatever that means. And I have to imagine one of the questions that you get on the regular at this point in the year is, how do I go and buy a cooker, or give me your advice on buying a grill or a cooker? What do you tell people when they ask you?
Well, I mean, first of all, there's some basic decisions you want to make. Do you want the convenience of electricity or pellets? Do you like messing with fire, in which case you want to be with charcoal and wood? Second, of course, is your price point, because there are great smokers at every price point. Third question is how much space you have. Somebody working on a back deck is not going to be able to accommodate a half-ton offset barrel smoker. I guess, fourth question you want to ask is, are you a griller? Are you a smoker? Are you both? I'm a big advocate of sort of buying a great grill and buying a great smoker rather than necessarily trying to get a machine that does everything. It's a little bit like those old VCRs that were television sets.
He is Stephen Raichlen. He's a Barbecue Hall of Famer, and he will be back next month. Extra time on me. As I said, I apologize for the technical issues up front, Stephen, but always appreciate the time. Thanks so much.
No problem. Good talking to you.
You got it. There he is. It's Stephen Raichlen. And I got to figure out what the hell went on with my Skype. I mean, I had this whole thing worked out, and it's just blew up right in my face. It was the worst. Sterling Smith, be prepared to have a terrible segment. No, not by any fault of you, by the way. But maybe me. Could be me. I'm going to try and go back and see if we can't figure it out. All right, folks, let me talk to you quickly about the Pit Barrel Cooker. Pulling the trigger on a new cooker can be nerve-wracking sometimes. Temperature control, fire management, what woods to buy, who needs the hassle, might I strongly suggest a Pit Barrel Cooker. The Pit Barrel makes cooking simple and fun, and it might just be the unique and versatile, easy-to-use cooker available on the market today. Imagine a cooker that will turn out great traditional barbecue meats like briskets, pork shoulders, and ribs, while also being able to ramp up the temperature to do those briskets, burgers, chicken wings, and hot dogs. Versatility, all thanks to the revolutionary design that goes beyond traditional convection. Their hook and hang method places food in the center of the heat, so it's acting like a stationary rotisserie. That gives you great tasting, perfectly cooked meat each and every time. Not only is the Pit Barrel a fabulous cooking vessel, it's aesthetically sexy as well. It's not only built to withstand heat, but thanks to its porcelain enamel finish, the Pit Barrel able to withstand any type of weather. It's also extremely portable. It fits in the back of most vans, trucks, and SUVs, so it's ready to go wherever you are. Of course, all barbecue lovers love accessories, and the Pit Barrel doesn't disappoint here either. Rubs, unique removable ash pans, pit grips, turkey hangers, hinged grill grates, beer koozies, coffee mugs, a full line of accessories that complete the Pit Barrel experience. Best part, $2.99. Pit Barrel comes fully assembled, ready to cook, and it ships for free right to your door. Also, everything that they sell ships free for the lower 48 continental states. No promo code or no coupon needed. Don't take my word for it. Amazing Ribs continues to sing the praises, awarding it their Gold Division winner 3 years in a row. Head on over to pitbarrelcooker.com and see what everybody's talking about. Be sure to check out their full collection of short how-to videos and pick up one or two for yourself. You'll thank me later. If you have any questions, contact them through the website or call 502-228-1222. That's 502-228-1222, and they will actually talk to you. Find out what great customer service is all about at pitbarrelcooker.com. We're back with Sterling Smith right after this.
Ready to get on the air? Call 216-220-0966. Now, let's get back to the LeBron James of barbecue talk. Greg Rempe.
All right, welcome back. This portion of the show being brought to you by Green Mountain Grills, manufacturers of some of the best pellet cookers out there on the market today. If you're looking for a big cooker to house a lot of food, they got one for you. Something medium-sized, they got you covered. Also, something to take on tailgates, they got you covered there too. They can also supply you with wood pellets to fire those cookers. Yeah, baby. Go to greenmountaingrills.com. That's greenmountaingrills.com. You'll love your Green Mountain Grill. I love my Green Mountain Grill. Everybody loves Green Mountain Grills. There you go. This is exactly why I don't have this particular sound card, so whatever, it doesn't matter. Sterling Smith, how are you, buddy?
Excellent. How are you?
Oh, God, suffering. I wish I knew what the hell. Yeah, I can. I don't know exactly what the hell happened with my man Stephen Raichlen, but what can I tell you? Here we are, ready to go. Here we go. All right, so let me talk to you quickly. You know, before this past weekend, you've seen success at this particular Tucson, Arizona National Pro Barbecue Tour presented by Sam's Club event. We did an interview in 2015 after you had won. You'd also won it in 2014 back-to-back. So Tucson's been a pretty good place in terms of Sam's Club for loot and booty, right?
Absolutely. I love supporting any competition in Arizona as much as I can. We don't have a lot of competitions here. We used to back in the day, but, it's the way of the future with barbecue competitions and sponsors and all that, how it goes. So the ones that we do have in the States, if I have a chance, I'm going to support them as much as I can. And Tucson Sam's Club is an amazing competition. The KCBS and Michael McDermott run an amazing tour throughout the country, and being involved in that Sam's Club, it's always run smoothly. Everything is fine. We always have what we need, and the Sam's Club is a great partner. And having the Sam's Club have this kind of series across the country it's an amazing opportunity for pitmasters everywhere to be involved in this. So Tucson has been great, and we love cooking in Tucson.
I had Mike McLeod on a couple weeks ago, Sterling, and he was talking about how the Sam's Club National Barbecue Tour was renamed this year the National Pro Barbecue Tour, presented by Sam's Club. I guess in an effort to get it a little bit more name recognition, make it a little bit more attractive to some media outlets and so forth, for some exposure. Do you think that is a good idea? And did you happen to see any more media folks around there because it was a National Pro Barbecue Tour versus just, a barbecue event?
Yeah, I didn't notice any more media. What I think about the name change, the National Pro Barbecue Tour, that's what it's been for the last 7 years. And the sport is ever evolving. As it grows, everybody grows. There's sponsorships and so much focus, and huge meat companies sponsoring. But just to be involved with it, and if it's called National Pro Barbecue Tour, if it's called Sam's Club, if it's called Come Cook Meat in the Random Parking Lot, you got $10,000, some trophy, and a chance for me to have some fun with my friends. Call it what you want. I'll be there.
You had said you remember a day, it was probably, I don't know, now 5, 6, 7 years ago, when Arizona was really a competition hotbed. You had Arizona Barbecue Society or whatever it was called, and there were a couple different factions going on in there, and they seemed to both kind of dissolve out. Like, what happened there? I thought that was going to be like the next, that was going to be like the fourth sanctioning body. You'd have FBA, KCBS, you have the IBA stuff, and then you were going to have the Arizona situation.
Currently, there is a BCS, which is a Barbecue Championship Series sanctioning body. That body is through Arizona Barbecue Club, and Mike Ryman, he's head of that. They've actually had 2 competitions this year for BCS in Arizona. They've traditionally had 1, 2 competitions here and there, but it's just another opportunity for cooks, no matter what sanctioning body, to get together and to cook and enjoy that barbecue atmosphere. So BCS, KCBS, we've even had an IBCA comp here last year. So it's unfortunate that things happen, but all I can do is put my head down and hopefully continue to do what I do.
Is variety the spice of life, Sterling, when it comes to sanctioning bodies? Or if you had your druthers, would you like to see like one country-wide sanctioning body that everybody was under and you could really kind of ramp up from there? And maybe you had, let's liken it to a baseball. Maybe you have a AA and a AAA type level, and then you have a major leagues, but it's all under one sanctioning body like it is with MLB. Is that something you would like to see, or do you prefer all the various sanctioning bodies that are out there right now?
I love that there's so many opportunities for cooks, no matter what sanctioning body, and every sanctioning body has its uniqueness. And I love cooking IBCA competitions because I love to challenge myself with a half chicken, cooking it right, perfectly. And I think as a cook, I don't care what sanctioning body it is, and everyone, like I said, has their pros and cons or whatever it is. But I don't think it needs to go under one roof and everybody's the same. Let people be unique and let these other regions, put on their sanctioning as they want to do it. It's, we're just cooking meat in the parking lot, man.
Sterling Smith joining me here on the show, pitmaster of Loot and Booty, winner of the local Sam's Club event this past weekend, third time, by the way. So let's look back at this past weekend, Sterling, just from a high level. How does the cook go for you, and does anything pop up out of the ordinary that you had to contend with that you didn't plan for?
Recently, I would say over the last year to year and a half, my cooks go pretty smooth. I kind of I prepare. I super prepare. I uber prepare. I make sure everything's perfect before I get there. I mise en place myself, make sure everything's in order, everything's organized. I do the same trimming. I use the same meats, the same products, the same everything, and it just becomes kind of robotic. And when I get into that tent, so I cook the hot and fast, 300 degrees on gateway drums, and I use the Green Mountain Grill, Davy Crockett. I'll pull that out sometimes for my chicken. But I know my temperatures, I know my airflow. I've been doing it so long that it just becomes kind of robotic. I may tweak something here and there. I mean, I love playing around in the kitchen. I love experimenting with things, but when I get under that tent, it just becomes robot zone. I have my timelines. I know what I got to do and I know what I got to hit. It's been pretty consistent. Every now and then something will come up, a little here and there, something will be an off taste or something like that, or weather is weather. It happens, but you got to deal with it, adapt and overcome. But it's been pretty robotic. I mean, my cooks have been pretty smooth. I haven't had difficulty with any timelines or anything. So everything's kind of been just. I made turn-ins. I hit my flavor profile, and it's up to get on the right table, man. Who knows? Those 6 judges, one day they may love it, the next day they think it's okay. One day they may hate it. So all I can do is do what I do, be balanced, give them amazing food that I think's amazing, with attention to detail, with order, with doing it to the 9th degree, to making sure everything is perfect. And that's what it takes to win these days. Those big teams that are out there all over the country doing it, there's no recipe. It's attention to detail. It's passion, it's love, it's soul. It's, just getting in that zone and doing it over and over and over and making it perfect. That's what they're doing, man. It's not a recipe. But in order to compete with them, that's what you got to do. And I tell people in my class, I said, this is what I'm going to bring to every competition. This is what I'm going to do. So imagine me over there in my tent. In order to beat me, you got to do it better than me. So, I mean, that's what it takes to win these days.
Sterling, you'd mentioned something. You want to provide amazing food. And so my question is this, because I had talked to Darren Worth from Iowa Smoky D's a couple weeks ago after he won Houston Livestock and Rodeo, and he said, I don't want to put in the judges' hands something that they take a bite of and they go, and maybe it's not in a bad way, but they say, I wonder what that flavor is or that spice is or where they're getting that heat. He just wants them to bite it and go, that was good, and then put it down, and that's it. Are you of the same mindset? Do you just want them to take a bite and be like, that's good, and put it down, and that's it? Or do you want them to think about it a little bit in the hopes to stand out?
I think, personally, I want them to think about it in hopes it stands out. All the little things that we do, to trimming, to injecting, to weighing every single piece to make sure it's all cooked uniform and all that, I don't do that to be, that was good. I do it because I want them to say, damn, that was amazing. That's what I want personally. And, obviously I'm no Darren. I mean, Darren's probably the best barbecue person of all time. I can't contend with anything he has to say. But personally, I want them to say, damn, that was amazing. Why would I not? I want it to stand out. I want it to say, that was fucking good. Sorry, my bad.
Who is this, Travis Clark?
Sorry.
No problem. So let's go ahead and look at your results from the past weekend. Of course, 697.6 takes overall grand. Certainly a respectable score. You get 3rd in chicken, 3rd in ribs. Pretty happy with those scores, and do you feel they were adequate with how you were measuring them up?
Absolutely. I was surprised with ribs a little bit. Ribs have been killing me all year. So I've been tweaking a little bit as I go, tweak here, tweak this, and then I think I kind of hit a little something there. I liked them. They stood out. They stood out to me more than my ribs have before. So I knew my ribs were better than I have turned in, and especially this past year. I really can't go on 6 months of knowledge. I have to tweak the last 3 or 4 comps because that's kind of what judges are trending to. So they haven't liked my ribs, but I was tweaking, and I think I found a nice little something they may like in there. Chicken's pretty standard, man. I've been cooking the same chicken for a while now, and it's been pretty consistent. So, I do tweak little things. I did an injection, actually, this past time, and I usually don't. So I was playing around with a little something. But I thought they were both good. So I was happy, absolutely happy. Whenever you're in the top 10, especially that with that group of cooks there, you look at some of those cooks, I'm like, man, you get in the top 10 in this group, you earned it.
First in pork, so always love to have a category win, and then no call in brisket. So as they start to get to the overall awards with 2/3 and a pork win, but no call in brisket, where's your head at the overalls? Given the teams that are there, as you had just mentioned a couple seconds ago, do you still think you're kind of locked up for a win there, or what's your mind process?
No. From what I think I was in the top. I knew I was in probably the top 3 to 4. Rick Misi from Hickory and Spice had a first in chicken with a perfect 180 and a first in brisket. I think he had another call. It was like a lower call, I think, but 2 category wins right there with the 180. You're thinking, I mean, he's got to be up there. But I knew I was in the top 3 or 4. I didn't think I had it overall until they called Rick for, I think, like 4th or 3rd overall. Jerry from Vernon and Luton, he had several good calls, so he was up there, and he took 3rd. And then Dennis from Porketeers out of California, he just came off a grand championship at the Guinea Pig out in Indio, so he's got a nice little streak going. So he had some really nice calls too. So you knew he was in the tops there too. So in my head, it was between Hickory and Spice, Porketeers, me. And Jerry snuck in there at 3rd. I knew he was going to be up there. But like I said, anytime with those teams there, you can eke out a win. It's a good day.
I think in a Sam's Club environment, at least for the first 2 rounds, teams can fall into I'm happy with the top 6, or in the regional round, I'm happy with the top 10. Is that a dangerous mindset to have because you're not looking to shoot the bullseye and win, and you're just happy to move on to the next round? Or do you think the majority of teams don't even think like that? It's win at all costs, and if I'm in the top 6, that's fine, but I'm coming to win.
If you're not there to win, then you know what, you're probably not going to, because there's several other teams there that are here to win. So these guys are there to win. They're not just playing around. The amount of competition these days, there's so much information everybody has in classes. I do classes, and I tell you exactly what I do. A lot of these guys are my alumni. They've been in my class. So I'm telling them that I'm coming out doing the best I can. So they know that they got to do it better than me. So the competition these days is amazing. And people, you've seen these, big teams and the people who go to their classes, and they become amazing because they're doing it with passion and love and soul and attention to detail. So if you're not there to win, then you're probably not going to. But to get in the top 6 and to move on, that's another opportunity. So you have another opportunity to get back and maybe tweak something here and there, look at the scores, look at who's going to be there, maybe change your profile depending on where you're going. But it's another opportunity. And so, do it again and do it the best you can. Cross your fingers, get a good table.
Where are you going to be competing at next, Sterling?
I actually I was looking at the Sam's Club website today, and I looked at that Sam's Club Reno, Nevada, which is this weekend, and I saw there were 29 teams with no wait list. So I called and put my card in, so I'm heading to Reno this weekend for the Sam's Club Reno event.
Oh, look at you, going back-to-back Sam's. This guy's nuts up. All right.
I'm going to the light, just the truck, the pop-up tent, the gateway drums, a little smoker, and we're out.
Last question before I let you go, and I appreciate the time as always, Sterling. Rumor has it that you might be coming to the Heat Exchange in the Cleveland area this summer to give a class. True or false?
Actually, that's quite True.
Yes.
I'm working with some those guys up there.
Here we go.
And Green Mountain Grills, which I do some brand ambassador work and social media work for them. We are looking at maybe doing some classes on Green Mountain Grills up in that area.
All right.
So I would love to come up there and meet you and have a beer and share some barbecue.
All right. Well, Sterling Smith will be heading to another Sam's Club this weekend after he took down the local title this past weekend in Tucson. Always appreciate the time, Sterling. Thanks so much, man.
Thanks, Greg. I appreciate it.
You got it. There he is. Sterling Smith from Loot and Booty.
All guests on the BBQ Central Show appear via the Smithfield Hotline. Yummy.
And he is going to go ahead and try another local event. How about you try some Butcher's Barbecue? That's right. No better or easier way to step up the barbecue and grilling game than with a little Butcher's Barbecue, or a lot. Why not? We all know Butcher's is well known for the injections, the porks, the beef, the poultries, a couple different porks. Prime injection. That's combined everything that's loved with the beef injection using its award-winning flavor enhancer and its ability to keep your brisket juicy and moist, combined with the competition standard and beef flavor, available for sale right now at butcherbbq.com. Now, you want the go-to rubs and sauces, no problem. They got the standby rubs or the flagship rubs, the steak and brisket and the honey rub. Now they also have a cherry, they have chipotle, they have pecan, and they have the double secret master blend from Dave Bosco. Last but not least, they have the sweet barbecue sauce. Look, I'm as picky as it gets when it comes to sauce, so if I'm telling you this is good stuff, it is. No liquid smoke, thank goodness. Buy a box of 6, it's going to go fast. And don't forget the grilling oils. Come on. All right, we're back to wrap up the first hour. Stick around, we'll be right back.
Big name interviews, advice on cooking brisket and ribs, and the only host willing to share his honest opinion on all things important in the world of barbecue. It's the BBQ Central Show.
All right, welcome back. This portion being brought to you by cookandpellets.com, your number one source for quality wood pellets for all your pellet-driven cookers. Visit cookandpellets.com for more information to purchase. You can also visit amazon.com as well. All right. I think top of the second hour, I'm going to go full-on sound nerd out so I don't screw up the last two interview segments. So we'll see how that goes. I can't switch that. Can I? No, I don't want to switch that. I wish I understood what happened with Skype. I have an idea, but I'm going to need the break to fix that. All right. Well, I think I might have figured it out here, so. Give me a couple minutes here. I'm going to unplug my sound capture card, replug it in, see if we can't reboot the sound that's going to Skype. And then we'll come to the top of the second hour. Somebody be ready to call in on the Skype hotline so I can test this stuff out. I can only insult one Barbecue Hall of Famer per show, if at all possible. Thank you. Sorry, Steven, that's my bad. All right. Stick around. We'll be right back. You're listening and watching the BBQ Central Show right here on the BBQ Central Networks.
This is Bobby. And this is Jennifer. And we're from Cleveland, Ohio. And you are listening to the BBQ Central Show.
Happy to have you aboard here for the Really Big Barbecue Show.
Boing. We cook because we have to, and we grill because we want to. Hit me!
Fine, how's it going?
You have a great show. I'm a big fan.
Boing.
So what seems to be the problem here? This man looks like he's dead, and he's in the crackle.
Sean Bono. It's all about the Sean Bono, dude.
Succulent fish. What?
He ate cookies or wiener.
But listen, Lavernius, shut your face.
I'm shaking like a dog shit peach seeds.
We have top men working on it right now. Top men.
All right, just like that, we are into the second hour. Oh, he was there. He's gone. I was getting to you, John. I just was right at the top. Hey, you have found the BBQ Central Show. We talk about a lot of things that have to do with barbecue and grilling here on this show. We broadcast live and direct from the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame city of Cleveland, Ohio. It is the barbecue capital of the North Coast. And I, for one, certainly appreciate you taking time out to join me. Should you see fit to join in on the show tonight? In fact, I would encourage somebody to call in. Here's how you get in.
You can get in touch with the show by calling 216-220-0966. Email Greg at the BBQCentralShow.com. On the Twitter and Instagrams at BBQ Central Show.
All right, so Evan Krim, Sterling did sound good because I switched the sound card that he was being dragged through originally. Well, it was actually through the one that was being dragged through Stephen Raichlen, and then I switched, and then it sounded okay. But now I realize, I guess, what the issue was. So let's race to the hotline and welcome grilling celebrity John Dawson to the show. John, how are you, buddy?
I am better than I deserve, man. But your audio, at least on my end on Skype, which is admittedly 3G, is pretty robotic and garbly.
3G? You don't have Cat 6?
No, dude. I'm out in the hinterlands.
What's a hinterland?
It's a big word. I'll Google it to you.
All right, yeah. But make sure you insult me by saying, "Let me Google that for you," like you usually do. That's my favorite. I use that all the time now.
That's my favorite site, man. Yeah. We spread the love, man. That's what I say.
I hear you. So, all right. Well, the good news is on my end, your audio sounds absolutely fantastic. So, the good news is the folks coming up at 10:14 and 10:35 at least have a modicum of hope that they might sound absolutely okay.
Yeah, I mean, your audio actually got a lot better after you applied the whatever fix you did. I mean, it went from bad on the guest side, and then it went from good on the guest side to bad on your side, and then it went good all the way around. So you sound great to me, too. So I think you're golden.
All right. John, you are a gentleman, and thank you for calling in.
You bet. Glad to help. Take care.
It's John right there. John Dawson. Patio Daddy-O Barbecue. You know, he's a web celebrity. Of course, I am concerned that John said that the guest audio got better and then mine got crappy. If anything, the guest should always be crappy and mine should be superior. But, come on. All right, John Yeager writing in, please tell Blake happy birthday. He's now 5 years old. Hey, Blake, guess what? Happy birthday! Congratulations, Blake. You've made it to year 5. You've got a lot of years ahead of you. Happy birthday to Blake, a 5-year-old Centralite. I'm going to tell you, I need to look at my phone and see if I got any text messages because somebody's about to go on blast. Yeah. Some of you might remember my neighbor Desmond, said, I'm in for tonight. I'm in on the show. Hey, okay. Well, Here's the guest spot. Guess what? No Desmond.
Get that big stuff out of here.
Look, there you are. I got the microphone set up for you. I got the chair that's extremely uncomfortable. I made sure I tuned in all of those TVs individually. No Desmond. Again.
Get that big stuff out of here.
Don't tell me you're going to be here for the show when you live 10 seconds from my house and can't get over it. Don't tell me you're going to come to the show and then not show up. That's bull.
Get that big stuff out of here.
Let the Facebook scathing begin. Proper modulation. That's right. All right, still to come on the show tonight, Railyard Barbecue. That's Rod Blackburn and Justin Bowman, and Clarence Joseph will be taking us to the end of the evening, talking about his big win in Texas this past weekend. All right, if you want to get in the show tonight, 216-220-0966, the email Greg at thebbqcentralshow.com. We are now officially 100% out of horse meat t-shirts. The No Names Please nationally ranked volleyball team, their shirts have been disseminated. They are now wearing them. Evan Krim has a horse meat t-shirt he posted on my Facebook page. Stan Dabrowski from Rub My Rack has a horse meat t-shirt up there in the great mid-northwest. North. Kevin Huber has a horse meat t-shirt. There's some other guy up there in the Dakotas that has a horse meat t-shirt. Embedded Texas correspondent Doug Scheiding has a horse meat t-shirt. Kevin Coleman, the grill master of Weber Grills, has a horse meat t-shirt. So, amongst others, Patrick Paquette also has one. So, very exciting, if I may say the least. David Huff also has a horse meat t-shirt. David Huff, by the way, officially being announced today as the official Embedded Oklahoma correspondent for the BBQ Central Show. Also made the Railyard Barbecue segment a thing of fruition, if you will. All right, so here's this. Let me get a drink. I'm a little dry tonight. Travis Clark got a lot of reaction last week. Mostly positive, but there were some no names please people from the KCBS side of things that maybe were a little put off by his comments. Some might have messaged me directly. Some might have been people I had heard about on the roundabout. And if I may give you my side, first and foremost, I am a host of a show. And part of those duties is to ask people questions. And many times during a conversation, I deviate from my outline because the guest says something interesting or it's an item I want to follow up on, so we steer left. And maybe I never take it back to the right, which would otherwise be known as the show's original agenda. But that's the way this show operates. That's the way the show has always operated, from the likes of John Marcus to Stephen Raichlen all the way down to just, the regular backyard cook. Everybody knows that if you're a fan of the show, I have kind of a working outline of what I'm going to ask. And inevitably, somebody's going to say, when I was just interviewing Sterling Smith, I had an outline of stuff but he would say something and I would veer left, and he would say something again a couple questions later and veer left. And I don't get to 3 or 4 or 5 questions that I had kind of sketched out that I might want to ask him depending on what he says. But that's just how the show operates. And what makes this show unique and what makes this show the best available is that's how the show operates. And I do not look for people to be salacious on purpose, nor do I goad guests into saying things that they would normally say. Now, sure, I might ask people the same question 5 or 6 different ways if I think they have something to say, or maybe I feel like they're holding back, or they're just not comfortable to jump over that fence. So if I can ask them a couple different ways, maybe the next way is the one that pushes them over to answer the question, and maybe not. Because I also know when to relent and be professional. But from my perspective as a host, I would always rather prefer a personality like Travis, who was going to let it rip, versus someone who was going to give that cliched interview and response and not really give a real opinion. Look, through the history of any sport, some of your most popular sports people refuse to give any opinions. Michael Jordan was like the best example of that ever. The most popular guy on the face of the earth never had an opinion about anything. So in the infinitesimal stages of competition barbecue, I would rather have people have a point of view or an opinion, popular or not. That's why we do the show. All right, Railyard Barbecue coming up out of the break. Let me talk to you quickly about the Chops Power Injector System, the NBBQA 2015 and 2016 Barbecue Tool of the Year. They come in 3 awesome sizes to fit your injecting needs, and this is what they are. The number one seller is the half-gallon Chops Power Injector System. It's designed for competitions or to pump up the backyard warrior like me. They're also easy to use, right? Clean it, fill it, pump it, and away you go. If you have just one brisket or pork shoulder to do, you don't need to fill it all the way up. Just put in what you need. It uses it all. It comes with 14-gauge needles, 2 replacement plastic needle adapters, 3 plug screws, a needle protector. It's $100 plus you pay shipping. Then you have the 1-gallon Chops Power Injector System, double the size of the half-gallon, comes with the same amount of stuff. This one, more for the use of competitions, like if you're cooking an MBN whole hog, or maybe you're doing like 10 or 12 shoulders to get your perfect one. This one's $120 plus shipping anywhere. Then you have the newest one of the bunch, which now has some age on it, the Chops Full Power Injector System. It's electric and is the commercial and competition Big Daddy. There is not a holding tank, but a 3.5-foot pickup tube that you can put in any size container. That's right, from a few ounces to a 55-gallon drum. It was designed for Chef Rob at the best barbecue restaurant in Kansas City. He said time and time again that with the Chops Full Power Injector System, his briskets are better than ever. It comes with metal needle adapters, the plug screws, 12-gauge needles, 11.5-gauge needles, a needle protector, $325 plus you pay shipping. A number of the top pitmasters in the world are using Chops Power Injector Systems every day to make their barbecue better than everybody else's. We live in a foodie world that requires flavor in every bite. This is how you do it and do it fast. Not just for meat. How about alcohol-infused watermelon? Every injector hand-assembled right in Kansas City, Missouri, USA. Extra accessories, you want them, they got them. You want to shoot those medium ground spices? They have you covered for that. They have a great upgrade. You can make your Chops Power Injector bulletproof. Metal needle adapters. How about that? The Chops Power Injector Systems gives your barbecue some power. You can find it at Barbecue Kansas City. That's BARBEQUE. BarbecueKansasCity.com. That's BarbecueKansasCity.com. The boys from Railyard Barbecue right after this. Stick around. We'll be right back.
The only show giving you a monthly visit from a doctor of barbecue. A man actually named Meathead. The author of a barbecue Bible. Bloggers, reviewers, competitors, and manufacturers by the dozens. It's the BBQ Central Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
All right, this segment being brought to you by Unknown Smoker Accessories, purveyors of made-in-the-USA stainless steel barbecue and smoker lid hinges, barbecue accessory hangers, rocket hop chimney grillers, and heavy-duty aluminum foil dispensers. The fine products from Unknown Smoker Accessories keep your gear where it needs to be. At arm's length and ready for battle. By the way, the rocket hot chimney griller also available for sale right now at BigPapaSmokers.com. Huh? Yes. Once again, showing that partnership is good, and it doesn't always have to be about competition. Of course, if you want to, you can still buy all of the Unknown Smoker accessories at unknownbbq.com/shop. That's unknownbbq.com/shop. So congratulations to Jason Whitcomb and kind of partnering up with one Sterling Ball over at Big Pop Smokers on those rocket hot chimney grillers. Very exciting. All right, my first guests in the second hour are riding a 2-contest winning streak, looking to make it 3 in a row this coming weekend in Shawnee, Oklahoma. Appearing on this show the Tuesday before a cook, as we all know, Show Karma does attach, basically locking down the event for them. So merely a formality showing up this coming weekend. Let's go ahead and race over to the hotline and welcome first-timers to the show, pitmasters of Railyard Barbecue, Rod Blackburn and Justin Bowman. Gentlemen, thanks for joining me this evening. Absolutely fantastic to have you. I guess, Rod, let's start with you. A little bit of background on you, and is barbecue and grilling something that's kind of always been in the upbringing and background with you?
Pretty much. My father taught me barbecuing all my life. I got into judging probably about 8-9 years ago, and did that for a little bit, but I wanted more. I wanted the competition side. And so basically formed my own team. I was by myself. That was Railyard Barbecue. My buddy Justin and also Tommy is a team member also, Tommy Ryan. And Justin and I have a past where he works for a plumbing supply company and I'm a plumber. And we became friends and basically talked barbecue all the time. I had my team, he had his team. Last year we decided to put his team aside, my team aside, and combine. And we cooked on Gateway drums. And so our name last year was OMG, Look at Those Cans. And basically we had fun with the cans. We loved the Gateway product, had a good time. Towards the end of the year, we decided to get the Jambo out and ran it and took reserve and said, let's keep running this. And so it was kind of a no-brainer for this year. So we went back to Railyard as our name and brought Tommy in, and Tommy's our third member. And Justin, Tommy, and I we're making it work. It's really, right now, everything's clicking for us, and we're having a good time with it. We're just enjoying the ride, and hopefully we'll continue this weekend.
Justin, what kind of background do you have in barbecue?
Really, I just started cooking with a buddy of mine from high school, and I started helping him out, and his name's Dan Hathaway with the Kansas City barbecue store. And I kind of just helped him out and really, really fell in love with it, and then started up my own team with another buddy. And it just kind of went downhill from there. We got the bug just bit us hard, so we just started cooking and started having some success with it. And then, like my teammate that I was cooking with didn't want to cook as much as I wanted to. And so then that's when I started talking to Rod, and we just took off from there.
From a team perspective and a team dynamic, are we like pitmasters, or is Rod like the pitmaster designate and you guys are like co-pitmasters, or what's the dynamic like on the team?
Well, I'll take this one, Justin, if you don't mind.
Sure.
I'm just the head cook on the paperwork. Tommy was the head cook of his team. Justin was the head cook of his team. We're all equals, and we have our hand in everything. All of us do. We don't have a certain meat that each one of us cooks. We all have our hand in everything. Basically, we got a lot of feedback from friends of ours saying, how are you guys going to make this work? You guys are 3 head cooks. How are you going to come together and form this team? And it just worked. Justin and I have been cooking together now for about 1.5 years, and with no issues, everything runs smooth. We actually kind of think what each other's thinking. And when Tommy stepped in, basically Tommy just fell right into place, and we couldn't ask for a better situation. So we are all totally equal. I'm just a head cook on the paperwork.
Justin, from a responsibilities standpoint, does each of you have a specific category that you're cooking, or is everybody, as Rod said, kind of have their hands in it, and everybody's got thoughts on brisket and ribs and chicken and so forth?
Yeah, we all have a hand in everything. We don't veer from our game plan unless we all agree on it. And usually that takes a couple weeks of something not working before we are ready to abandon anything. But, you know, we all have our say and we talk everything over, you know, so yeah, from that standpoint, you know, we all have our hand in everything. When it comes to prepping, we kind of separate everything out. You know, Rod has his things that he goes and looks for meat. You know, he looks for the pork, and then he trims our brisket and our pork butts out. And then Tommy gets our ribs, and then I do the chicken. Chicken's always kind of been my favorite, and so I like to trim out the chicken. And I'm afraid to let anybody else do it. I'm kind of superstitious, and so I don't let anybody touch it. But yeah, no, we all have our hands in everything.
It seems, Rod, that you guys are bucking a trend. I mean, I remember when I was doing the show 5-6 years ago, you had teams that, you know, 3 seemed to be light on the number of teammates. It was 6 people and 7 people and 10 people, and there were the proverbial lot of cooks in the kitchen. But over the last handful of years, you've seen it trimmed down to where it might be a husband and wife, or, you know, now there's even a lot of people that are just out there doing it all by themselves and really scaling back. I don't know if you can translate that evolution and saying, well, that maybe they weren't having as much success or anything like that, but you guys do seem to be bucking a trend where you have not only 3 people on the team, but 3 legitimate pitmasters all under the same roof.
Yeah, and I believe that's what's really working for us. Tommy is kind of our guy that keeps us in line. I mean, when it's time to, you know, trim chicken or season chicken, Tommy's telling us. We all run everything by each other 2 or 3 times. We're always talking to each other, and it's really working for us. I come from where it was just a solo team with me. I had some help, but basically it was just help set up and tear down, where I was doing everything. And it was just, I would come home exhausted. And I don't see how some of these guys do it because I rely so much on Justin and Tommy, and it's really working for us.
You look over the last 2 events that you've been at, and you win grand championship. You know, as you look back over and you start to string them together. I mean, inevitably, once you get 2 and you start looking at that next one, everybody's like, oh, you know, are they going to get 3? Maybe get 3, and now it's 4. As they start to pile on, do you start to feel as a team a little extra added pressure? And is that something that you guys start to talk about a little bit more and more between you guys? Or is it one of those things where if like a pitcher's having a perfect game, everybody stays away from each other and you're not mentioning the obvious elephant in the room?
Justin, you want to field that one?
Yeah. You know, after we won the Sam's in Shreveport, you know, when we went to Great Bend, it was, I think we had more pressure there just because we didn't want to be that team that, you know, took their first, you know, GC and then came out the next week and finished last, you know, so there's a lot of pressure there. We were just really wanting to have a solid cook and maybe top 10, you know, we were hopeful that we could maybe get a top 10, but yeah, when we're in like turn in mode, we really don't talk to each other much. Like we don't discuss what, you know, the food tastes like. We're pretty superstitious when it comes to that. And so we usually wait until after we do our turn ins and then we kind of look at each other and we're like, okay, this was good. This wasn't good. You know, what do you guys think? And after the Shreveport contest, and we thought that we had a pretty solid cook, but we just didn't know where we were in a different state. We didn't know what the judges were going to like or not like. We knew our food was what we normally cook, but you just never know. And then, you know, we kind of felt the same way at Great Bend. The week next after that, you know, we felt like it was pretty comparable to the Shreveport contest, and so we were pretty hopeful there that we were going to do well. But you know, you just never know with the judging. Sometimes you can hit good tables, sometimes you can't, and so we were just hoping to pull out a top 10, and we ended up doing a little bit better than that.
Rod, obviously this coming weekend you shoot over to Shawnee, Oklahoma. I know Travis Clark is going to be back there, so you're looking to string a third one together. I mean, you guys talking about what it's going to take to do a third one, or are you not talking about that?
We really haven't talked about it. I mean, it's always in the back of our mind. We go into every show thinking that, okay, we just want to cook our game, do what we do, hit our timelines, just cook the way we cook. And when we left Great Bend, as soon as we were done with the turn-ins, we're like, that was a solid cook. That was just like Shreveport. And so our goal is to cook every show exactly the same, kind of like Sterling was talking about earlier. It's kind of robotic. I mean, that was exactly how we feel. We do so much prep, so much over prep, that when we get there, we're comfortable with everything. Everything falls into place. So we do mention it every once in a while, kind of like joking around. We talk in a group, the three of us, all the time, and we do joke about, hey, let's go win another one, but that's as far as we go, because we know that this sport can humble you in a second, and we know that the bottom can just fall out of this thing, and we'll be struggling the rest of the year. So now we're just enjoying the ride while we can, and just having a good time with it.
Justin, talk to me about the team's idea of flavor profile and what you're looking to turn in. It doesn't have to be specific to each category, but as I was talking with Sterling Smith the last segment, I said, hey, the most prolific competition cook on the face of the earth, Darren Worth, will sit there and say, hey, I want to turn in great barbecue, but nothing that is leaving a judge to linger on what was that or what was this. He just wants him to take a bite and be like, yeah, that's really good, and then move on to the next one. Is that a similar mindset that you guys have, or what's your philosophy in that regard?
We want
yeah, definitely. We want to cook good barbecue. And we try not to offend anybody. I've gotten comment cards where I have offended people, and it's not fun. So, we try to be, mediocre. It seems to work for us. There's a lot of things that we cook that necessarily I don't. I'm kind of a spicy guy, so I like my barbecue to be pretty spicy. But for competition, I don't. We try to stick away from that. We try to be pretty medium, middle of the road, like Darren said a couple weeks ago. I mean, that's really kind of the way I think you have to cook barbecue.
Rod, similar.
I actually got a comment card one.
Oh yeah,
I'm sorry, talking all over you.
Go ahead.
I actually got a comment card one time on brisket that said that there was an undetectable flavor, and they dinged me with a 5. They said an undetectable flavor, and they did not like it.
From a competitor's standpoint, what's from when you guys had started to where you're at now? What do you think the biggest change has been from then until now? Like, what did you do back then that there's like no way that you would do now, Rod?
We are so organized now. I mean, not saying we weren't last year, but our attention to detail and our finishing is so tuned in right now, and that's the biggest difference. Last year, I mean, we had good cooks. We were a 1-2 call team. There were times where we were close to reserve and grand, but just quite weren't, we weren't there yet. We did hit one reserve last year in Osawatomie, but Kansas, but we just weren't as detailed as we are now. And with Tommy being an addition to the team, we're even more detailed. He keeps us on track, and in my opinion, that's what it's all about. Just like Sterling was saying earlier, we just, to the T, we have everything as much as we can do on Friday, so our Saturdays are smooth, and that's the biggest thing I think that we've changed.
Justin, did you guys take cooking classes either individually or as a team to try and ramp up at all, or not so much?
Rod and I both took the Brad and Tim's class last year, just because we were going to the cans and we wanted the timeline more so than flavor profile, because we were kind of already hitting with recipes that we had, but we didn't want that learning curve with the cans. Rod, I think, took Travis's class last year also, but we didn't really use any of that until toward the end of the year when we switched over to the Jambo, for like timeline and how to run the Jambo. But then we've had some help, along the way. When we're cooking 20 shows a year, you run into the same group of guys and same people and teams all over, and you build these friendships. And that's what's really cool about barbecue is everybody is there to help, if you have a question or anything. So we actually let Ryan Murphy with Dirt Road use Rod's cooker last year while his was getting mounted to his trailer, and he cooked on it on the Jambo more than we did. And so when we cooked with him in Osawatomie, we cooked right next door to him, and he kind of helped us out on meat placement. He's like, man, this thing likes to run at this temperature, you need to put your meat here. And then it just kind of went downhill from there. But yeah, everybody helps everybody in this sport, and you can't a lot of this stuff you pick up stuff from everybody, so it's kind of cool.
Obviously, Shawnee is the next destination, looking for 3 in a row. Rod, give me a percentage of chance, greater than 80% or less than 50%. You go back to back to back.
Oh boy, you're gonna jinx me here.
You can answer this one.
I would say about let's go. How about 75%?
Oh yeah, here we go. If you've never listened to the show, the BBQ Central Show, karma attaches, so it's pretty much a guaranteed victory. But we never like to oversell that, of course. But this is Rod Blackburn and Justin Bowman from Railyard Barbecue, as I just mentioned, looking for 3 wins in a row this coming weekend in Shawnee, Oklahoma. Guys, really appreciate the time tonight. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Greg.
Thank you.
You got it. Railyard Barbecue, baby. Yeah. Awesome. And now let the mania begin of me being a kook. I would love to sit here and say, well, first of all, we all know that I would never compete. If I did. I did once in a rib contest. But that, I guess, doesn't count. That was only one meat. But I would love to sit here and say that I would really like to have multiple pitmasters. But I don't have the ability to allow people to potentially dictate how my team does, because my brain doesn't work like that. I would love to. I sit in therapy twice a week trying to be a more better person to take help. But in the end, it all falls on me, I feel. So I have to gut through and work through and grind and get the end result, because if I don't, it will drive me nuts. And I'm very jealous of Rod and Justin and Tommy, that they can get together, guys who could all be pitmasters of their very own team. They could be 3 separate teams. Imagine that, 3 separate teams. Very, very impressive. 2 in a row, looking for 3 in Shawnee, Oklahoma this coming weekend. Side note, showdown from Winter Q with Travis Clark, if anybody is buying into that. All right, Cook Shack manufactures smoker ovens for barbecue lovers with any amount of experience. Whether you barbecue in the backyard, in the competition circuit, or in a 5-star dining facility, Cook Shack has the unit that will do the job. And with a full line of barbecue sauces, spices, pellets, and wood chunks, is the perfect one-stop shop. Cook Shack strives to be your barbecue resource center by offering cooking classes, online recipes, how-to videos, 2 blogs, smoke and grilling 101s, and a video cooking classroom. Check out their website at cookshack.com or follow them on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Pinterest, Google+. Get advice or share your passion for barbecue on their World-Class Barbecue Forum. They still have one of those. Cook Shack pellet-fired smokers are the choice of champions because they were designed by a champion, right? Ed Fast Eddie Moore, the FEC 100, PG 1000 are always customer favorites. The PG-1000 can double as a smoker and grill, low and slow, hot and fast. The pellet grill line gives you the most for your money. Cook Shack residential electric smokers are the #1 smoker in the industry. High quality, high durability, high versatility. Anything you can cook in your oven, you can make in a Cook Shack. Passion and dedication drives Cook Shack's manufacturing, with quality always being at the forefront. Get the best in barbecue since 1962. Call 800-423-0698. That's 800-423-0698. Or visit their website, cookshack.com. That's Cookshack, Cookshack, Cookshack.com. Cook Shack was not at the HPB Expo, but I believe they'll probably be at that National Restaurant Association. And do they have it? Is it in Chicago every year, or do they rotate that around? I think it was in Chicago last year. Showing that new pizza oven. I want to see that thing in person. Don't forget, they're going to be coming out with a residential pizza oven a little bit later this year. We'll have to get Stuart back on to talk about that just to refresh. All right. Let's take a quick break, and we're back with Clarence Joseph to wrap the show. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Continuing to produce incredibly mediocre content in an exceptionally professional way. You're listening and watching the BBQ Central Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
All right, welcome back. This portion of the show is being brought to you by Smithfield, the biggest name in pork, bringing you great opportunities this barbecue season. Get smoking with Smithfield and their grant program and committed cooks program. Learn more about these particular items, the grant and the committed cooks program, by going to Smokin', S-M-O-K-I-N, SmokingWithSmithfield.com. That is SmokingWithSmithfield.com. And as I had mentioned in the first hour, Emily Detweiler will be on the show next week to talk a little bit more about that in depth. All right. Helping me close it out this evening is a guy I really enjoy talking about barbecue and grilling with, whether it be in the backyard or on the competition scene. He's coming off a big win at the Cowboy Dance Hall Barbecue Cook-Off. We head over to the Smokin' with Smithfield hotline and welcome back friend of the show, Clarence Joseph. CJ, what's up?
You're the man, baby. How's life treating you, Greg?
I am absolutely fabulous, Clarence. Always appreciate you making time for the show. And big win this past weekend. I know last time we were on the show, you were very encouraged as things were ramping up. You were dialing everything in. And this weekend is certainly a payoff. Talk to me a little bit about the weekend and how it turned out for you.
A great weekend. A high-quality cook. Lots of awesome cooks in attendance. You know, the numbers were down. Payoff was awesome. But the quality of cooks showed up, so it was a very top-heavy cook. And to be able to end up with that GC set volumes in terms of what I've been trying to get done.
When you were on the show the last time, you were talking about specific profiles that you were putting in place, and we were talking about how the brisket tasted last year and things that you were trying to adjust. Do you feel at this point, kind of coming to the end of that first quarter of the year, that you're kind of dialed in and ready to really make a burn here through the rest of the handful of months that we're looking at?
Without doubt. You know, I just got finished talking with some barbecue guys, and I really wish I was cooking this weekend. Instead, I've got a class this weekend. But at this point, when I think I've got things rolling in the direction that I want them to go, you know, you wish you were cooking every weekend. And I really want to get back at it, but I've got to skip a weekend to give this class. And I pick things back up next weekend in Beesville for a massive cook, a very a large cook. But like you said, I think I've got things exactly where I want them, and the proof is going to be in the pudding. Let's see what happens as we move forward.
Are you a team, Clarence, that when the brisket's ready, when the chicken's ready, when the ribs are ready, that are you a taste and modify the last second, or are you not about that? You follow the program that you have, you believe in the process, and you're not going to make any changes on the fly before you go turn it?
I normally rarely, if ever, taste any of my foods before turning in. I'm one of those that believe that once it's cooked, there isn't much you can do outside of brisket. Outside of brisket, there really isn't anything you can really adjust to get taste into that meat, to make it a part of that meat. You might be able to do some surface fixings, a little salt here, a little sugar there, or something along those lines. But for the most part, I make no adjustments after I've sliced or before turning in. In brisket, I'm one of those I use the au jus that brisket produces, and I will taste that au jus, and I will make adjustments to that au jus before I run my slices through them. So absolutely.
Clarence Joseph from Momma and Papa Joe's Barbecue joining me here on the show, talking about the win this past weekend at the Cowboys Dance Hall Barbecue Cook-Off. Take me through a weekend of cook for you, Clarence. Team-wise, do you set a certain amount of time to socialize? I mean, you look at the number, and you said that there were actually down a little bit this year for this particular cook-off. But when on the whole, if you look at a KCBS contest or an FBA contest, and then you look at a number of the Texas events, there always seems to be at least triple the amount of cooks at a Texas event than you would find at some of the other sanctioning bodies. So do you set a certain amount of time aside on maybe a Friday to go around and do a little bit of the catching up and the camaraderie stuff, and then once the time hits, okay, now it's game time, we go back to the trailer or the tent or whatever, and we're going to start working on our stuff, and then we're not going to talk to anybody until we get done with turn-ins? What's your weekend like in that regard?
My weekend of the cook-off, Friday, I don't stray very far. I am, if I'm going to be anything resembling a social butterfly, it's going to be Friday. And even so, I don't stray very far from my camp. I've got a usual number of cooks or camps that I will stop into for a short period. If it gets a little too loud, I'll move back to my camp. But I prefer to keep the parties or the gatherings away from my camp. I don't mind going to visit, but when I'm tired of the noise, the conversation, or anything along those lines, I prefer to move back to my camp. But when I do move around, it's going to be Fridays. Saturdays, I've got the blinders on and I'm focused on the cook. I stick very close to my camp. Don't stray very far. I rarely turn in my own food. My wife is responsible for turn-ins. So I rarely, if ever, stray very far from my camp. I tend to set up around the same group of guys. They understand that. They tend to give me my space come Saturday morning, which I appreciate. But I don't like being sidetracked, which happens every now and again. We get visitors that stop in, whether they're spectators or cooks. They just don't understand the need for privacy during that cook. I don't know if it's because they've been to previous cook sites that allows that. But in my camp, it's pretty much me solo handling things, making it happen. And I appreciate those individuals that understand that this isn't time for socializing. You want to socialize with me? Let's make it happen on Fridays, or let's wait until after awards.
Is that how CJ is built, or because of success that you've had and because of the big events that you've won, people want to naturally gravitate towards the people that seem to be hitting or seem to be popular or have that kind of gregarious and ebullient personality, which you have, and you've had to make those adjustments to kind of keep your space?
I think it's a combination of both. We have seen, whether people want to admit it or not, we've got some cooks that will come to your site when they know you're at a particular part of your cook process. Whether it's getting ready for that last 30 minutes for brisket turn-in. There are some cooks that are going to want to stop by. And I know they're not there to socialize. They're there to pretty much try to see exactly how you handle business, what you're doing. Spectators, I can understand, but cooks at this stage of the game, I really think that cooks should understand. You come to somebody's camp when they're in the middle of something, hey, back off and politely remove yourself. It's the only way to go. That's definitely one of the courtesies that I will offer to every cook when I do come to their camp. If they're in the middle, even if it's on a Friday and they're prepping for Saturday, I will back off. I will absolutely back off. I think it's a little bit disrespectful. Hey, I give a class. You want to see what I'm doing? Holler at me at the class. I will gladly show you. But it's going to cost you. I can't afford to do it for free, if you know what I mean.
Clarence Joseph joining me here on the show. You were talking about we were talking about the win this past weekend, and you're taking off from cooking to do your class. How many classes are you looking at doing in 2017?
I've actually backed it down to 4 classes this year. I would love to get my numbers of cook-offs back up in the 30 or so range. So I backed it down to 4 classes starting this week, and I'm doing every other month, I believe, through September. Right now, we're right at 20 cook-offs, and once again, I guess I might be one of the few instructors who will actually cook, who will actually teach their class on somebody else's pit. So I want students to bring their pits to my class. I love the challenge of being able to work and produce a quality product on somebody else's pit, within a day or so. And I've been very successful doing that. In the past, I've heard people mention that a true pit master is able to cook on anything. And I'd like to think that I've shown those individuals who've taken my class that I can cook on anything. I've actually seen some of the most unorthodox pits at my class, and I've been able to tweak those pits and produce a competition quality product right there on my class on that given Saturday.
Are you sold out for next week's class or this coming week's
Yes,
class?
My class is sold out. I can't accept any more pits. I can accept, I don't want to say the numbers of people who are observing can be limitless. I'd like to keep that to a minimum to make sure everybody have access to see exactly what's going on. But yes, the class is sold out.
Let me switch gears for a second. I had the official Texas embedded correspondent Doug Scheiding on last week, and he's been on a couple times here during the course of the new year, and he was part of a Super Bowl cook-off experience with Traeger that I know you were a part of. I'm interested to get your feedback on how you thought that event went.
That actual event, the results of that event was one of the proudest I've ever been.
Really?
The quality of cooks at that event was off the charts, and when you got 4 pellet cookers going up against a host of quality stick burners, man, that was right up my alley. I really relished the challenge of trying to produce a quality product on a pellet burner going up against those stick burners. That entire weekend, as cooks walked past us, they would make the little side remarks. I hope your electricity goes out here, this, that, the other. And while we didn't win it, we finished reserve, which I just blew my mind away. We top 3 every category, so very, very happy. And it goes to prove again, a quality recipe can provide positive results on just about any type of cooker.
You know, when we talk about pellet cookers, Clarence, I know a couple weeks ago when Houston Livestock and Rodeo was going, there was, I think it was a 2-hour period of time where they're assuming I understood this right from Doug, there was a time when they were banning pellet cookers, and then that kind of got overturned. But I mean, and I remember hearing about that at some point last season where they were going to bring it up in some type of a meeting to ban pellet cookers. What's your thought on that? Are you a pellet cooker guy? Do you not care about pellet cookers? I had read a post by Craig Sherry earlier today kind of dictating what kind of pits can be used in competition. And I guess if you start looking at how a pellet cooker runs, some people would make an argument that they're falling into the illegal cooker. Where do you stretch out on that?
I love the pellet cookers. I've got a Traeger in my backyard, and man, I use that. I burn that thing 2-3 times a week, and it produces a quality product. I am not ready to use it in a competition, but with that said, I don't see any problem with anybody using it in a competition. It doesn't concern me. It doesn't give me pause when I show up at an event. You know, I don't care what you're cooking on. I still walk into that event with the attitude that you're still going to have to produce a better product than me. And again, it's not so much the pit you're cooking on. You know, you still got to prep for that event. You still got to make your prep come true with your cook during that Saturday, that entire Saturday. So I don't care what you're cooking on. I don't see any reason to ban it anywhere. But there are a lot of cooks that are concerned with that set it and forget it mentality. You know, there are a lot of cooks that are concerned that these guys are cooking on ovens or whatever the case might be. I will tease some of my peers every now and again, but when it all comes down to an event, I feel that you should be able to cook on just about anything that you have. You still got to produce that quality product. And if I don't feel that I can beat you, then I need to find another hobby.
Clarence, where can people go to sign up? Obviously, you said this coming weekend's class is filled up, but if people are interested in signing up for a future class, where can they go to do that?
You know, I've been working on a web page for my barbecue team, my barbecue class, but I haven't quite gotten it to where it is functional yet. So in the meantime, you know, I do a lot of posting on my personal account. I do a lot of posting on my team page, and I also use several of the Texas barbecue forums to make announcements for my class.
Clarence Joseph is the pitmaster for Mom and Papa Joe's Barbecue, winner this past weekend, giving a class this coming weekend. Clarence, always appreciate the time, man. Thanks so much for coming on.
All right, thank you, Greg, for the invite. Look forward to another one.
You got it. There he is. Clarence Joseph, as I always say each and every time, man, love talking with that guy.
All guests on the BBQ Central Show appear via the Smithfield Hotline. Yummy.
All right, so as he said, no website to look at this point. Maybe just looking to see if this internet isn't just a fad. It's a fad, right? Internet. What's a web page? Check him out on the Facebooks, Clarence Joseph or Mom and Papa Joe's Barbecue on the Facebooks. Look, if you didn't know, Big Papa Smokers is the one-stop shop for anyone interested in barbecue, featuring a comprehensive selection of all American-made grill spices, sauces, accessories, even a kit that gives you everything you need to make a world-class smoker out of a 55-gallon drum. Big Papa Smokers has made a name for itself recently by basically winning almost every major barbecue competition with their rubs. They've also banded together with fellow California-based rub maker Simply Marvelous Barbecue to form what has now become known as the West Coast Offense. Defying conventional wisdom, these two California-based rub makers have cornered the market on competitive barbecue and begun to redefine the flavor profile that competitive cooks from across the country have begun to aim for. They've even created two of their own unique competitions, the King of the Smoker which brings the best of the best in barbecue in a head-to-head back-to-basics style competition. King the Smoker unique in the fact that contestants can't use an electric device such as pellet cookers or pit minders, only allowed to use charcoal wood in their wits to win one of the most high-stakes events around. The other competition, the Guinea Pig, a cost-controlled event that helps bring newcomers into the world of competitive barbecue. It also features prize distribution all the way down to 10th place in each category, helps provide incentive to get new competitors into the world of barbecue. On top of all that, Big Poppa's has created a unique brand ambassador program, just released this year, by the way, the BPS Elite Team, featuring 15 of the best competition teams in the country working together to promote camaraderie, competition barbecue, and to benefit children's charities across the U.S. Keep in mind, it's only 6 years of doing this now. Turning the competition barbecue world on its head, creating their own unique competitions, becoming a staple of a nationwide restaurant chain, and benefiting children's charities across the U.S. It's just the beginning for Big Poppa Smokers. Still, again, go to BigPoppaSmokers.com and check out the Rocket Hot Chimney Grillers that Unknown Smoker Accessory makes. You can buy them on Big Poppa Smokers, partnering together. It's fabulous. All right. We will be back to wrap up this show accordingly right after this. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Whole packers, full racks, legs and thighs, injecting butts. If you've never heard this before, you might think you found the best XXX show ever. Let's get back to the most homoerotic host out there today, Greg Rempe.
All right, thanks again to CJ for joining me this past segment, talking about the big one this past weekend. Down in Texas, got a class this coming weekend. So looking forward to that. Again, if you're looking to get in one of his classes, he said every other month here through, I think it was September. Hit him up on Facebook, Clarence Joseph, or Mom and Papa Joe's Barbecue on Facebook as well. All right. Let's wrap it up all the way back in the first hour through an through an incredible technical difficulty, which, of course, I figured out. Yes. Stephen Raichlen suffered through a abbreviated segment. But then Sterling Smith came on and summarily killed it, as he always does. Sterling, appreciate you. Appreciate you coming on. You're going to be in the Cleveland area at some point this summer, and your time's right. He's giving a class up in the Northeast Ohio area, which I'm excited to take some people to see once we get that logisticalized. Not a word. In the second hour, we talked with the guys over at Railyard Barbecue, Rod and Justin. Rod Blackburn and Justin Bowman. Also, shout out to Tommy, their third teammate. And we ended the show with Clarence Joseph from Mom and Papa Joe's Barbecue. Huge show, packed already. Legitimately packed, no room right off the bat. Packed well into April, by the way, so the show's still going strong. That's always good news. Emily Detweiler's in, Max Good is in. Other people that I can't think of right now are in. It's going to be fun. Maybe the steak cook-off guy. I didn't even mention the fact that KCBS is horning in on the steak cook-off action and coming up with their own steak cook-off on Friday nights. What? We'll talk about that. Hey, September 11th, 2001, I will never forget. And until next Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, this is your program host and proud U.S. American, Greg Rempe. Good night now.